Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another Murph Plays. This time, we're playing Metroid 2 for Game Boy. Originally developed by Nintendo R&D 1. This is the second Metroid game in the franchise. This is the first one on the Game Boy handheld system. As you can see, we are playing the colorized version. Still the original game pack. It's just you pop this puppy into Game Boy Color or Game Boy Advance, and it applies this very nice little color palette, because the people who developed this game also worked on the Game Boy Color, and they thought, hey, wouldn't it be cool if we took some of those old black and white Game Boy games and, you know, spruced them up a bit with a bit of color, a little splash of, special, make them look like Game Boy Color games. Well, this is what we got. We are using a guide for this game because it has been an age since I really gave this one a good solid playthrough, and I honestly can't remember for sure if I beat this one ever in the history of ever. I know it's been about a bajillion years since I played it originally. But to keep us from getting stuck anywhere, we are using the walkthrough available on GameFAQs. That's GameFAQs .gamespot.com. This is the guide written by Mars Genkar that we're using, version 1.03 of their walkthrough. Last updated August 21st, 2016, so it's been a while since they wrote this. But shout out to Mars Genkar, wherever you are. Thank you for writing this guide. I mean, I probably shouldn't thank you yet. I still have yet to see if this guide is actually going to be any good. But I'm assuming it's going to be all right. We are also using a map. And I believe the map we are looking at the map itself does not appear to have any credits on it, but I think I tracked down the one that was recommended by the guide we are referring to. And that would be Radic37's complete Metroid 2 map on the same website. That's GameFAQs. If you're a gamer and you're not familiar with GameFAQs, just search Game FAQs. All is one word. It's pretty handy. It's a lot of independent guide creators, basically writing up little text documents. They're not real fancy. A lot of them probably don't have a lot of imagery to them. Most of them are just plain text form. But what they lack in bells and whistles, they usually make up for in their honesty and their thorough attention to detail. Usually. I mean, there have been a time or two I've run into some guides, and it's like, really? This is what you put time into, and that's what you came up with. All right. Anyway. I suppose I should give you guys some sound. And immediately regret it. Anyway, that noise you're hearing, that is the opening title screen from the game, so there's that. Alright. The game selection, I always found this to be weird. You have to press left and right on the controller to select which file you want to be playing. I've already had a game going on number 1. So we're going to go to number 2 to start a new one. You have to you have to press select to get the option to erase a game file. Alright. Now, first things we're going to note here. Samus looks a little different than she did in the original Metroid. In fact, she kind of bears a striking resemblance to how she looks in Super Metroid, which comes later. The reason for this change in design was the original Game Boy was black and white, no color. I know we're seeing color now, but this is the colorized palette that gets applied to the game when you're playing it on a Game Boy Advance or Game Boy Color. But this game came out before that was available, so this game used to be black and white. So when they did the upgrades to the suit, because when you get the Varia suit, your suit would change color in the original Metroid game. That would indicate, okay, you have an upgraded suit. In this one, if you change the color of her suit, it's just going to be a different shade of gray if you're playing it on the original system. So they added a little bit of detail, give her a slightly different look, and the idea for that was that would help players tell the difference between what suit upgrades they have. As you can see, we're starting out, we already have Morph Ball. We don't have Morph Ball bombs, though. We also can't jump in Morph Ball mode. But we can shoot up and down, and we can crouch in this game. These are the upgrades that this game brought from the original Metroid. So in a way, this handheld release almost gave us a better version of our protagonist. As far as mobility and combat prowess, just because these are some things that were notably missing from the first one, and would have made certain parts a lot easier. Now, we don't have a charge beam yet, so holding down the fire button just gives us a constant stream. Alright. Shortcut. Sorry, I'm following the guide's instructions on shortcuts and such. There are a lot of them in this game. And it does make for a faster game. This is where the speedrunning for the Metroid series really takes off, because this game can be completed in 2 hours. I don't know that we're going to complete it in 2 hours. Probably not. Now, the guide says if we want to save, we can head right, but we haven't really done anything yet. Except take a tiny bit of damage. So, we'll head left here. Here. Ah. A lot of little shortcuts, like I said. Now this here is what's called the sticky liquid. Doesn't really do much. Slows you down. However, you do not want to confuse it for the acid, which looks pretty much identical. So... Alright, so far so good. But I think we're about to run into our first... Yep, here it is. It's our first Metroid. Now that was an Alpha Metroid. See, the ones we're used to, they start off as these jellyfish, but then they evolve into the Alpha Metroid, which is the weird flying lizard-looking thing. See, this was a new feature of this game as well. We have missile tanks and energy refill spots. So, we want to keep our eye out for those, because those will help us get through this much easier. Alright. So what did the earthquake do? Well, if we go back where we came. My aim sucks. Alright, now we did not see it before because, well, we didn't go far enough. We're also getting some more enemies, I think. I don't know that these guys were here before. But that spot where I said the guide says we could head back. Oh wait, no, we bypassed those because those guys were those were shortcut. I got you around those. Coming up here. If you recall, we fell from up here, landed on top of this thing. And I said the guide said if we went to the right we could save. That's what this is right here. A little save spot. Now, good time to save too. Killed our first Metroid, got our first advancement along the thing. But if we had continued this way, up ahead here, we would have found this tunnel here to have been filled with acid. Actual acid, too. Not sticky liquid, but like legit, it would have burned us. Would have made things not great. Okay, so let's go back through the room. If you shaft log legends, you won't be able to use the shortcut to get back, blah blah blah. If you saved early, go to the save point, then head right again. If you went into this room earlier, you probably noticed small pits were filled with caustic acid. Just talked about that. Acid drained away because of that earthquake. Now, we want to keep proceeding. Till we find where the acid has drained to. might notice I'm being very cautious to not get hit quite so often than maybe I usually am. But we don't have much for life, so until we deal with that problem, I am going to play a little cautiously, because I'd like to live long enough to see my first energy tank. I know. I am such a coward. Alright. We found the acid. Where do we want to go from here? Alright, we want to hop platforms to the other side. We'll see a passage heading to the right. Now we're gonna go swimming! Ah, that's what I was trying to avoid. All right. Just reading the guide here to read ahead so I see what's coming up. Okay. So we're proceeding to the Morph Ball bomb. Okay. Yeah, I'm not gonna fall for that. Okay. Proceeding up. Excuse me, my throat's feeling a little froggy. So normally, oh hey Ube, welcome to the chat. And yes, we are away from Other M. Finally, we are on to Metroid 2, and it is a much better gaming experience already. So much better. Ow. So. Ah! Stop getting attacked by bugs. Alright. We are currently trying to make our way over to the Morph Ball Bomb. I think I'm going the right way. We'll find out. But, this past weekend, went on a bit of a road trip. By the time I got back, I was way exhausted. So I ended up missing doing the, public domain horror movie that I normally do. Feel kind of bad about that, but, like, it's not like a whole lot of people probably noticed. And we'll have a good movie next Saturday. But I am excited. Today I have a delivery arriving. Let's see. Trying to see which way is the best way to go. I don't think that's the way I want to go. Is it this way? Is this the way I want to go? Oh, hey! Yeah. And a missile tank. Alright. But yeah, so I ended up missing the Saturday horror movie. But I'm not too worried. Next week I'll make up for it by showing something good. Today though, I have something interesting arriving from Amazon. Back when I was a tutor for HTML and stuff in the Free Code Camp Facebook group, one of the things people really lost their minds over was the John Dockett books, HTML and CSS, and JavaScript and jQuery. Very well designed books. They cover a vast amount of information, present it in very colorful, to look at anyway, informative, pages that You know, if you're a visual learner, it's a real great way to get the information. It's a little outdated though. It doesn't cover HTML5. It covers the older, like I believe it's 4.1. Uh, it's not bad though. I mean, it's not like there's a lot of changes between the two variations, but the subtleties are there. Okay, so where are we at here? Got the morph ball bomb. Jump back out and head right. We want to go to the ice beam, which is there, I believe. And if we're there... Okay. See, I'm a learner in pretty much, it doesn't matter how I learn it. Like, I will read about it and I will do it, and like graphical representations and stuff I find interesting, but like, it doesn't matter how the information gets presented to me. I'm okay with it in any form. Aha. Hey, we got our first energy tank. Yes. Let me tell you, that's going to improve our odds of survivability here. Like, I don't hate on the docket books. In fact, I own the HTML and the JavaScript docket books. But they're not how I learned my HTML and my JavaScript. I bought them long after I was already familiar enough that I could have written these books. But I do kind of like the visual, I do like the formatting and the work that the production value they put into these books. Anyway, while I was out on my little road trip this past weekend, it was brought to my attention that I was missing one, because he has apparently released another one. Oh, is the game still loud at that volume? I can turn that down. Is that better? I feel like that should be better. My microphone might not be very loud. I gotta get a new mic. But, yeah, I've had the HTML, CSS, and the JavaScript jQuery books for ages. Just ages and ages. But, we went and stopped at Barnes & Noble yesterday. I don't know if they have these internationally. I would imagine they do. Giant bookstore if you're not familiar with Barnes & Noble. But, my nephew wanted to stop at a Barnes & Noble because 16 years old, he had never been to a Barnes & Noble. And, honestly, I feel like that was a crime. This child should have been to a Barnes & Noble at some point. So we stopped at Barnes & Noble. And I warned him, okay, you're probably going to see way more here than you can afford. You will run out of money before you run out of things that you want to buy. That was not a lie. Definitely ran out of money before he ran out of things he wanted to buy. But, my kid, he found himself this super soft, super fluffy, I would call it a stuffed kitty cat, but it's more of a pillow that looks like a cat. It's kind of a super fat kitty cat pillow thing. Yeah, it is a bookstore chain. It's most notorious for having attempted to compete with Amazon. When Amazon released the Kindle, they were releasing the Nook, which was the competitor for Amazon's Kindle. I don't know if that's entirely a fair assessment to, you know, to categorize them in that way. It may have very well been that the Nook was first and Amazon just kind of came along and dominated the market like they do with everything. Oh no. This is an empty Metroid. There's gonna be one around here somewhere. Alright, I'm trying to think how do we get... Do we go this way? I've kind of stopped reading the guide and I'm just kind of going, seeing what happens. Okay, okay. We're making some weird progress here. Spider ball! Now what does the spider ball do? Well, it lets us crawl on walls. Because, you know, whatever a spider can. Ah! No! No, 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 no. Samus, get out of there. Well, anyway, so we're at this Barnes & Noble. And I see John Dockett's third book is out. I don't have that one. It's on PHP. So I decide, okay, I gotta get that. For some reason we can't get through there. I could have sworn there was a way through that. Oh well. Anyway. However, at Barnes & Noble, you pay cover price for all your books. And usually when I see something on Amazon, it's like, you know, 10% off or something. It's a little cheaper. A little bit cheaper. So I decided to wait till I got home to pick the book up, order it off of Amazon instead of buying it in person. Saved myself a few bucks. And I did. I did manage to find it for about 10 bucks off on Amazon, brand new. Matching format of the two that I already have. So, like, got the whole set now. But, yeah, I'm kind of excited to have picked that up. I don't know if we're going to get to PHP. When it comes to it, with the web developing for the coding sessions. But, not gonna lie, I would like to cover a little bit of PHP. The confusion, though, with covering PHP is in getting people to understand how server-side is different than client-side, and how to handle the that whole thing. But back when I did freelance web development, that was kind of an impossible task to get customers to understand as well on some of the projects I was doing. They wanted the sort of things that you could only do with PHP, but they didn't understand that you needed a web server that you had control over, that you could do something like that on. So, it was kind of confusing having to explain to them why the project that they wanted wasn't something I could actually do for them. Have I been in here before? I think I have. No, I have not. There we go. Anyway, they would want me to do a web page, but they would want it hosted on, hosting they've already bought. And the host would, not allow you to do things like add a PHP processor to the server. There it is. That's what I'm looking for. Yeah, so there's no PHP server, or no PHP processor, and they want to be able to do, host a catalog of products they can sell, but they haven't paid for that, that kind of servicing, and they're expecting that I'll just be able to do it because I'm a programmer. I can figure it out. And it's like, it doesn't quite work that way. You won't be able to take orders like that. I can include like a phone number and an email address or something if you want to be able to take orders over the phone or by email, but they're not going to be able to order directly through your website without the ability to process those orders on the server side. And the hosting you've paid for, the hosting you bought, does not have that. Because they would always call me in after the fact. After they have already purchased their hosting and stuff. Because, they'll get all, gung-ho about, oh, we're gonna set up a website. Da, da, da. They have no idea what they're doing. They don't bother to consult anybody before they get started and before they start buying things. So they'll get the domain name and the hosting and all that stuff. They'll have no idea how to get the domain name to point to their, where they actually have their hosting. And then, because they had no idea what they were shopping for, when they made their purchase, like, they won't have purchased what they need for the very ambitious project that they have in mind. And because there's no PHP processing, like, can you imagine trying to set up product pages and stuff without the ability to fill in details like what the product is, but instead having to do like a different page or a completely different page for each product instead of just having that information filled in on a template page? Yeah, it was not a good time. But that was the state of web development back when I did freelance work for some of these people. It was kind of frustrating, but, you know, I did make a little bit of money. Oh yeah, I can't stand that kind of work because it's like, oh no, you're gonna make me make a separate individual page for every single one of these stupid products instead of just having a file that contains the description and having different images for each of your products. Yeah, it does take forever. It really does. Even if you're doing copy and paste for as much as you possibly can and trying to automate as much of your workflow as possible, you are still going to spend so much time. But yeah, some clients don't understand how they make the project harder on themselves. So I did like working in PHP for the little while that I actually got to do that, but I never got to work in PHP professionally. I just did that as my own, on my own. Oh no! Yeah, jerk! Yeah, got me. My own little pet project web server that I used to have. And it was fun. It was a lot of fun. I didn't get it into sessions though, which I really wanted to mess around with. But like being able to do couple of different things, like make it so that you don't have to put your navigation bar on every single page. You know, having your web page populate that for you, so you only ever have to design it once, and then you don't have to go to like 17 different pages to change it every time you add a new page or something. You know. That was really nice. There we go. The controls when using Spiderbot, the Spider Ball, are a little weird. Because when you get started, if you don't hold the button for the direction you're going in, son of a... Okay, now I need to build my health back up. Because we are... in a dire situation now. My own fault, that kind of put me there, but... I think we got everything in this area, though, anyway. So I think I want to backtrack. And I think there's a save point up here. But yeah. Like, things have changed a lot in web development since I first started. An easy way to explain while and for loops. While loops are for when you don't know how many times you're going through a loop. For loops are for when you already know. Like, that's the easiest and probably the best way to explain the difference between a while loop and a for loop. Going into a loop, usually, there will be a condition for how long you want to stay in that loop. Usually you'll stay in a loop for X number of times, or you'll stay in a loop while a certain condition has yet to be met. And that's the difference between using for and while. You can honestly get away with using just while loops all the time. Every instance of for loop, you can replace with a while loop. You can't always replace a while loop with a for loop, though. And the reasoning there is, it doesn't work out because the for loop has a step phase where it'll increment and check and increment and check. And like, sure, you can be clever and you can make some while loops out of for loops. Depending upon the language, you might even be able to get away with pretty much all of them. But, like, it's just easier to use a while loop when you don't know exactly how many times you're going to have to loop through a thing. If you do know how many times you have to loop through a thing, like, there's you know, oh, we're going to loop through this exactly as many times as we have elements in this, you know, this list or this array. It's going to be exactly, you know, the same number. You can pair up those variables, you know. Either use the for to step through the array directly, or, you know, what have you. With while, I usually tend to go with Boolean values for the loop condition. While it's true, while it's false, that kind of thing. I don't want to go too far back. No, we've gone too far back. Sorry guys, we gotta head back the other way. Well, I've been doing programming for so gosh darn long that a lot of the stuff comes second nature, and I even find myself using some of the same processes when trying to beat a game that I'm using while I'm programming. Which might seem weird, but it's true. This guy just doesn't want to... There we go. Got him! We got him. Okay. Now down here, if we keep going, assuming we can keep going, there should be 3 more Alpha Metroids. Also, when I started programming, I got into it mostly because I wanted to make my own games. So for me, programming and gaming are, you know, they're inseparable. They are definitely linked in my mind. There we go. How did he even hit me? And one of the things I would really like to be able to do with the coding tutorial series that I'm doing is I would like to be able to take that to a point where I actually develop a game on stream. Like, it might not be like a super fancy, you know, not the kind of thing that you would be able to sell, make money off of. But there we go. There we go. Secret tunnel. Secret tunnel. Oh no. There we go. That's what I was trying to do. But yeah, I'd like to take the coding tutorial sessions far enough that I can actually show people how they can make games. Because, like, even simple games are a lot of fun when you've made them yourself. And I feel like it adds a level to the gaming experience where, you know, if you've never done development, like, you don't quite appreciate some of the elements. Some of the bits of cleverness you see in some of the games you like probably escape you as far as, you know, oh, hey, that's, you know, you see Mario jump on a screen and you don't quite realize the math involved, you know, how that all works and how they handled it absolutely the most elegant way possible. You also develop an appreciation for glitches as a programmer. I think an appreciation you don't really have just as a player. I mean, you might enjoy them, but as a programmer, like, there's a whole nother level there. Because it's like, oh, you're a big developer, and you're screwing up too. Because they do. And even someone who's been in the business as long as Nintendo, who has been making kids' toys, card games for a century now, they still have a tendency to put out games that are not exactly perfect, you know? And it's okay. And then I had to go and screw it up like that. Why? Why, Samus? Why? Come on. Come on. You're better than this. There we go. So it's kind of, kind of enlightening to see how they can screw up too. They're not perfect. Yet you never hear of a game released without some kind of bug. And it makes you feel better about your own code, in a way, because, they're not getting it right 100% all the time either. Or ever. Cyberpunk 2077? Did I get the names right? Did I get that right? I think I got that right. In my opinion, probably one of the biggest confidence boosters amateur developers could have ever hoped for. Because here is a program that was, a decade in development, and one of the most celebrated developers in recent history, and the thing they put out was just atrocious by everybody's standards. It really makes you feel better about your own work. I mean, you may not be, cranking out the kind of graphic masterpiece as Cyberpunk 77, but you also don't have a giant team. And even with the massive another earthquake. Massive team that they had developing this thing. It was still just a nightmare. Yeah, it did kill the hype real fast. You're right about that, Ube. Not just that, though. It gave us a real inside look at the development cycle, because all of a sudden their customer base became beta testers. Like, it was unintentional, but the customer base became beta testers, and that was who they had to hear about their bugs from. And that was who they'd have to report back to with those bug fixes. And we got a real first-hand look at, like, with a big old spotlight on it, how some of that can affect your game development. I also find indie games to be just fascinating. Because you'll find some of the most interesting ideas, but not always presented with the latest technology, you know? I mean, you got people developing what essentially looks like, you know, Super Nintendo games. And even original Nintendo games. But they're brand new. They just came out. Like, this year, last, not 1980s. But the 2020s. And they're showing us interesting concepts we probably didn't consider. Things we totally missed out on. Back when the consoles were dependent on these level of graphics. They've also kind of shown that graphics don't necessarily make the game. You know, you don't need the highest, greatest, fastest, most elegant looking all the time to make a great game. In fact, graphics play such a minor role in what makes a game great that, like, you could totally ignore graphics. You could make an 8-bit game today that could outsell probably some of the latest things from, the biggest developers. Minecraft took the world by storm. I know it's owned by Microsoft now, but when it first dropped, that was an indie game. That was, that made that developer. But what were the graphics? You remember the graphics for Minecraft? I mean, people looked at that and they're like, what even is this? This is the most... It looks like it came off of a Nintendo 64. But it released at a time when the Nintendo 64 was old news. That was... But it didn't matter. It didn't matter to anybody that, that was old hat. Oh, what's that game that I was playing not that long ago? Cursed... No, Bloodstained. I think it's Bloodstained. Ritual of the Moon or something like that? Castlevania style sort of game. In fact, it's developed by the original guy. Minecraft, Swedish game? Yeah. I can't remember the guy's name, but he's the original developer of Castlevania. They did a Kickstarter. Yeah, I know, Minecraft, Swedish game, and yeah, Sweden. Like, what is the deal there? You guys have been putting out some amazing stuff lately. Kind of jealous because you're putting everybody else to shame. Knock it off. But the original developer for Castlevania, he launched a Kickstarter or a GoFundMe or something to basically create an homage to Castlevania. And genuinely, it's a really good game. Yeah, see, here in the States, our STEM programs have kinda... Meh. I mean, we have them, but we've had to have a real push to make sure that these programs stay available, are marketed to everybody, and in order to make sure that they're available and open to everybody, like, some serious fundraising has had to be done, because for some reason our government and, you know, our school boards and whatnot, it's been a real struggle to get them to understand the value in those things. And I find it ridiculous that education in this country is so poorly funded. Because all we have to do is look at the countries we are the most worried about in terms of challenging our place in, you know, either trade or world power or what have you, and just look at what are they doing that's different than us, that's better than us. And most of them are very focused on education, very focused on technology, and rightfully so, because that's where they get their edge. And if we want to compete, I feel like we really should be doing better with our school systems, with our STEM programs, all of that stuff. And we gotta start marketing this stuff more heavily as gender neutral, instead of, in our country at least, you know, oh, this is something that's catering towards boys' interests. You know, girls are, you know, you're not gonna want to do this. Girls are no good at math. You know, that kind of attitude. We got to get rid of that, because it's so backwards. It's stupid. There's no basis for it, and it's only hurting us in the long run. Trying to keep an eye on my map here to see where we're going next. I wish we could make education in the United States free. Like, there's no good reason it isn't. But in this country, we believe in a free enterprise system for literally everything. And I do mean everything. Even our health care. free enterprise. You know, we should not be hindering people's abilities to profit off of sick people, apparently. It's insane. I do wish we could get to a place where we're forgiving student loan debt. Oof, I can't get past there, can I? Nope. Like a lot of the the problems we face as a society in this country stem from this inability to let go of some of these weird concepts that just don't seem to work for us. Now, I'm not saying capitalism itself is a failure. I firmly believe every person should be able to have the opportunity to go to business for themselves, doing what they want to be able to do. But there's a caveat there. I firmly believe some things do need more oversight from our government. I do believe some things could be subsidized, and it would be a much better model for everybody as a whole. Not everything would benefit from that, but a lot of things would. Oh, I stuck. I might have better luck over here. Nope. Gonna have to keep going, I think. Another save point. Hold on, I gotta scoot the map over so I can see where I'm at here. Okay, I am there. Here we go. But, healthcare, in my opinion, should not be a for-profit business. I would be totally fine with my tax dollars paying for a much better system of healthcare that made sure that everybody got the help they needed. Because we live in a society, you know? We all do better when we all do better. you know? And that's the kind of thing where we would all do so much better. I already went up this way, didn't I? I did. This is not going to be helpful. Okay. Let's go back. Our education system. We do have a public education system. But there are people who are trying to make that public education system a bit of a different model, where instead of the government funding our schools, people take their education dollars and pay for private schools. I don't like that model, because most private schools end up being religious. You don't really have the choice that people try to say that you have in these situations. Yeah, no, a lot of people are a lot happier with where they're at when they realize just how bad the health system in the U.S. is. They tend to complain a lot less about the system that they have, because the healthcare system in the United States, it leaves a lot to be desired. It really does. Oof, I don't think I want to face you just yet. Well, looks like we're going to anyway. Oh. Okay, well, we saved not too long ago. So, this doesn't set us back much. But oof, what is going on there? I think I need a new graphics capture card here. Oh. But yeah, trying to make everything for business, for profit business model hasn't really worked out for us. but so many people refuse to see the flaws in the system. Oh yeah, like that's the other thing. Everyone is so focused on how much their income tax is in places where there is this sort of thing. But it's not just you have a bunch of money you pay into the government. What you're getting for that is a much better value than if you had to buy that stuff on your own. And people are of the mindset that, well, you're being forced to buy things you don't really need. But honestly, no, you're not being forced to buy things you don't need. You need health insurance. You can't get away with not getting health insurance, even in this country. So, in order to get health care, you gotta have health insurance. You have to. So we link it to, you have to have a job. You get your health insurance through your job. If you don't have a job, you have to pay for it out of pocket, and like even if you have a job, it's still super expensive most of the time because employers aren't exactly paying for your health care. And I feel like if we just took the money that would have that would have cost all of us individually for our health care. Oh, what the heck? Oh yeah, I forgot about you. Okay, how do I do this when I only have 2 health left? Well, see, that's the thing that they seem to want to overlook when they're making their argument that, oh, you know, we would be getting rid of an entire, you know, we would be getting rid of an entire industry and putting all these people out of work and blah, blah, blah. It's like, no, we wouldn't. The insurance industry would still exist. It's just they would sell different insurance. They would sell additional insurance because the state would only provide basic coverage. You know, you wouldn't be able to get elective procedures done on your basic coverage. You wouldn't be able to, you know, you would only be able to get like preventative medicine and immediate care for, you know, for those issues that you're having that are hindering your living. And see, that $70 a month is nothing compared to what it costs most people for just the basic coverage for health insurance here. People are paying an arm and a leg for their individual health insurance, and somehow feel convinced that they're saving money rather than having their taxes go up a little bit so that we can go to some kind of universal healthcare system. It is so insane. Okay, I need to find a place to fill up my health. Where can I do that? Over there. Okay. Hopefully we can get there without dying. Oh, I can't get over that. Okay. Is there another place I can fill up my health without dying? Hmm. I've got to find a place where I can either... Here we go. Hey. This is going to be slow and tedious, but it's going to work. Oh yeah, people are never satisfied with what they have. And a lot of time, like, making it better really doesn't take much. I mean, especially if you're here in the United States, it really wouldn't take much to fix a lot of the issues we got. We just have to convince people that, you know, an idea, just because someone calls it socialist, doesn't make it evil. You know? Oh yeah, I've seen Sweden on a few top 10, you know, best places to live. And it seems well earned. I mean, you never hear of, you know, at least I don't, never hear of rioting in Sweden. Never hear of, you know, the high crime rates of Sweden. You know, these aren't the articles you're hearing about. You're hearing about, yeah, oh, great destination to visit. Well, yeah, I mean, crime happens everywhere, though. You know, you get, you know, you guys have the same sort of problems that happen everywhere, but you don't get you know, you don't have the issues that we face here in the United States with, you know, the politics having just made things tedious and difficult at times. Yeah, and that's another thing. The politics of the gun control laws here in the United States absolutely just have me flabbergasted. Like, I'm not against guns. I'm okay with people owning guns. I just feel like, you know, some kind of common sense as to, hey, maybe I don't need that much gun. But no, there are people in this country, the hill they have chosen to die on is that their entire personality should consist of, I am more armed than Punisher. And trying to convince them that there is absolutely no need for that, and that it just makes them look psychotic. Like, it's an argument you will lose. And not because of any, you know, good points they're making, but just because they will refuse to see reason. After all, they already look like and completely embrace the idea that they're a high-functioning maniac. And it's their God-given right to be that way. And, you know, they're convinced that, you know, when shit hits the fan, they'll be okay where everyone else would be screwed. But never, ever has the situation come up that they are planning for. Ever. Like, they're all planning for this doomsday scenario where either terrorists are trying to, you know, mount a full-scale invasion on their front lawn, or the government decides it's just had it with their craziness and is coming to take away all of their toys. Way I see it is none of these scenarios have played out yet. And the further along we go, the more I'm actually rooting for the whole government getting sick of their crap and taking away some of these toys. I honestly am starting to root for that. But it hasn't happened yet. I don't think it's going to. I don't think we have to worry about a day where, you know, the government's going to show up and confiscate everybody's guns. Because it would have happened by now. Oh, there's always people who are going to have a problem with, you know, the percentage of the population that's immigrants. But you know, people are going to want to move there. That's just part of life. And it's okay. It's okay for people to want to move to your country. You should want people to want to move to your country. I know there's this whole idea that, oh, they'll bring disease and crime and blah, 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 because they'll bring the, you know, the horrible way of life that they are trying to escape with them. And, like, no, they won't, because they're trying to escape that. Like, that's the whole reason why, you know, a lot of these people immigrate. It's because they're trying to not keep, you know, perpetuating that cycle. They want out of it. And also, they know that the, you know, the eye of public consciousness is on them. Oop, I am pressing the wrong button. That's why it's doing that. So, as far as, you know, committing crimes and stuff, why? So they can get kicked back to the country that they got out of? Do you know how expensive it is to immigrate to another country? It's not cheap, yo. You think they're gonna waste that opportunity to commit some petty felonies? Don't be ridiculous. They ain't coming here to commit crime. That is a waste of money. It is not cheap to get here. Oh! Oh, it got me. Yeah, I mean, there's plenty of crime before immigrants. You know? You know, before the immigrants showed up, before you count the crimes committed by, you know, foreigners, you still have plenty of crime. Alright? When you add the crime that's being committed by foreigners, it doesn't go up really all that much. It really doesn't. And then, what you end up finding is, not only does it not go up very much, but turns out that all these immigrants, they add to the gross national product of your country. What? Yeah, turns out that the people immigrating tend not to be, the kind of people who are an economic drain on the system, but rather productive members of society. The news always goes with what's going to get the most reaction. You know? Their model has always been the most clicks, the most likes, the highest ratings. So they're going to do the stories that feed into the fears people have. People have to be smart enough to realize that that is their business model and not buy into it. Oh yeah, your guys' crime rates are definitely far, far lower than the United States. In major populated areas in the United States, we'll have more gun violence than you guys have all year within a month, easily. This is not statistics I am particularly proud of as an American. It's just the God honest truth, and it sucks. And the reason we can't do anything about it is because lobbyists for the gun and firearm industry have put a lot of money into stoking the, gun fetishists' concern that there's an entire political party looking to take away their guns, and that they have to make their entire identity about preserving this right. And thing is, there is no political party that's trying to just take away the guns. There might be a few people who agree with that idea, but that is not the platform of any political party. And it wouldn't make sense for it to be that way anyway, because do you know how many hunters we have out here? Do you know how many people we have who, that's just how they've been? That's their way of life? I think I've seen that one. I think I have seen the Jim Jeffries gun control thing. But it floors me how dead set these folks are on thinking that they need to protect their gun rights from the government coming to take away their guns. They're missing the fundamental point of the amendment. They're missing the fundamental point of, how that all works. The government can arbitrarily just choose to ignore the rights that it grants us. Okay? We have, in the United States, a few rights that, on paper, we say, look, these are inalienable. Government cannot take these away. Free speech is one of them. Right to own a firearm. Although the right to own a firearm was kind of misinterpreted, because the whole idea behind that was when the country was still new. We don't have an army, but we have a lot of farmers with, you know, with muskets. If they want to help protect the nation, by all means. Ah, come on. How do I beat you? Apparently this is not the way. Okay. I have to drop... Ah, dead. I have to bomb the guy. I have to use morph ball bombs on him. That's how I kill him. I gotta update this counter, don't I? Pretty sure we've died at least 3 times. It may be more than 3 times, but nah. Now, I do believe people should be able to own firearms, because it's the kind of thing that if you prohibit them from having it, only the people who have it will have it, and they'll be at a greater advantage and be able to exploit those who don't. Now, with that said, I do think there needs to be some regulation to the types of firearms available to people. If you want military-grade weaponry, you should be in the military. If you don't want to be in the military, you should not have access to military-grade weaponry. You don't get to be both an armchair warrior and, you know, have the kind of weapons that most other people have to endure basic training and, you know, specialized courses in order to fully understand. You shouldn't have that. There should be some limits. Now, some limits doesn't mean you don't get to own guns. You can still own guns. If you want the super, you know, super powerful, super, you know, high capacity, you know, shoots a lot of bullets in a very short amount of time kind of guns, enlist. Because otherwise you're just being a psycho. Because what scenario are those coming in handy, if not the sort of scenario you'll encounter as infantry, as military? You sure don't need that kind of crap for home defense. You don't. It's too much. It's actually a hindrance in those sort of scenarios, even though they don't want to see it as that. They want to see it as having, you know, tactical superiority. But, like, you're more likely to shoot your pets with an assault rifle than an intruder. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go save. Gonna end up losing all of my health trying to get to a save. You're more likely to mortally wound a family member using an assault rifle for home defense than if you just had a handgun. Just a regular old standard handgun. And the reason for that is just in the way in which the weapons are made. Handguns, you're not going to fire, you know, several dozen rounds before you realize you made your mistake. You're only going to fire a couple. And chances are, only a few of those will have hit. Instead of most of those. Like maybe you would with an assault rifle. A lot of people don't like to think that they would make those kinds of mistakes, but they happen all the time. And they happen to exactly the sort of people that are like, oh, it'll never happen to me. It's just like people who think that they can get away with driving drunk. You always think you'll get away with it until you don't. The people who go without health insurance. Yeah, you'll get away with it until you don't. And then the situation you find yourself in when it becomes a problem is far worse than the situation would have ever been otherwise. Yeah! Did it! We killed the thing! Now what did we get there? Spring ball! We can now jump in Morph Ball mode. I'm not sure how useful that's going to be for us, but I don't know. Maybe it'll be a little useful. Certainly isn't helping us stick to the ceiling here, that's for sure. And now, we wouldn't necessarily need the kind of regulations I think we should have if people just behaved better. If people just, you know, acted smarter. Problem is, they don't. In spite of the vast amount of information available to them, people still choose to act selfishly and stupidly in just about every situation. And it's really disturbing how bad it can get sometimes. Oh yeah, that guy's there. We want to go get our health refilled before we take him on. Oh, calm down. We still have 49 health. We'll be fine. Pretty sure. But, yeah. I mean, it gets absurd. The ideas some people have. And it's gotten to a point in this country where I'm worried we're going to reach a bit of an impasse on things politically, because the problems we keep running into are problems caused by these ideas people refuse to let go of. You know, they refuse to let go of this idea that they should just be allowed to own whatever and however many kinds of guns they want, because that's what the Second Amendment says, even though that is not what the Second Amendment says at all. Second Amendment clearly states that it is in the interest of having a militia pertinent for our country to allow the citizens to own guns. That is what the Second Amendment is. And it was written at a time when we were a new country. So yeah, it made sense at that time. Let the masses arm themselves so that, you know, if we had to defend our country, we could do so. Instead of having the government go and say, no, you can't own guns because, you know, we said so. And for public safety reasons, it would just be better if you didn't. We decided to allow it because it was just a shortcut to having a military. Oh, no worries. Now that said, one of the finer points of that whole, you know, Second Amendment thing is the phrase "well regulated" is actually in the wording. What we don't have right now is well regulated anything. None of it's well regulated. We can't even get away with, you know, even the most basic of regulations without people freaking out. You're trying to take away all our guns, even though no one's trying to do that. No one is trying to do that. That is not anybody's agenda at all. And the healthcare. If you took the amount of money it costs an average American to have health care in this country. Doing it the way it's intended, by, you know, having a job, getting health insurance through an employer, having the money for your health insurance taken out of your paycheck every week. If you took that money and compared it to how much would be taken out in taxes to pay for universal health care instead, people would save so much money. They did the math, and it would save us a lot of money. Everybody. But people would rather pay a high insurance premium than even a little bit more taxes. Because taxes are evil. But incredibly high-priced insurance premiums are commerce. Get out of there. We don't want to be in there. Okay. Let's see. I've got to go that way, that way, that way, that way. Okay, so first, let's go that way. But, yeah, it's a very weird system we live in. People are convinced of some very stupid ideas. And they'd rather pay more for less. Even if fundamentally there is no real choice in the matter. Like, no real, oh, you can choose whether or not to have health care. No, you really can't. You really can't. I mean, it's like saying you can choose to have car insurance. And if you have a car, you have to have car insurance. That's just the law. You can choose where you get your car insurance. you might be able to shop around and get what feels like a better rate, but to be quite honest, you'd all save just so much more money if instead of individually everybody buying their health insurance, if we all just paid in a little bit to the government and that money was doled out to hospitals and paid for the health care people were receiving. Oh, it got me. I kind of had a feeling that it would get me. Okay, how far back did that put us? Okay, I still have Spring Ball, so that's good. Where am I? Also, our economy would be doing better, and there would actually be more jobs if our immigration policy wasn't so ridiculous. I know, seems counterproductive and counterintuitive to what everybody believes about immigrants and immigration. Well, hey, thanks for hanging out. We'll catch y'all next time. Life's calling. Mine, not so much yet. I've got a few hours before I gotta be anywhere. Oh, don't die. Let's not get in trouble there. There we go. Okay. All right. Normally, I wouldn't trek all this way back. But I am getting sick of dying after doing some stuff and then having to redo that stuff. So, So we're going to do a thing. We're going to save. Then we're going to do another thing and save. And another thing and save. That way we don't have to keep redoing the things over and over again. Because that's getting old. Because the next two Metroids I'm going to have to kill. I've already fought them once. I really don't want to have to fight them again, but because I let myself die. This is the situation we find ourselves in. So right now I'm just rolling my way back up to where we fought this one Metroid. But I know there's an energy orb there. And proper administration of an energy orb. As long as I can make my way back without taking a whole lot of damage. I can make my way there without taking any damage. I should be able to make my way back without taking damage. You would think. Okay, full health. I don't have full missiles, but I also don't need full missiles. 61's a lot of missiles. Especially for our purposes. Now, I know people don't tune in for the political commentary. They're tuning in for the gameplay. But I gotta talk about something during the gameplay, because you very quickly run out of Metroid facts and stuff by the third game. And for those keeping track, this is the third one we were playing. We played the original. And it went pretty well. We dealt with some issues at the end where we could not, for the life of us, beat Mother Brain. And then I took a run at her off stream once and was able to and complete the completed the escape. All right, where am I going? That way. Oop. Alright. Because I think we already went to the right and killed the one there. So that's the only problem with the back and forth part. Is remembering what we did. We have enough health. I should be able to do the next one as well. And he should have an energy orb for me. Where'd you go? There we go. And I don't want people to get the idea that I hate my country and, you know, I think we should all be socialists. I just think my country could do better than it has been. Because we have been putting off implementing solutions for problems that have been problems for a long time. Kind of like how we've ignored global warming for pretty much ever. We come up with solutions that are basically just forms of kicking that problem down the road for later. And, that's not a great way to handle things, you know? I mean, imagine if you handled all your debt that way. And there are people who do. Credit card debt is basically that. You're just pushing that debt further on down the line. It means, at some point, like, you're going to have to pay all that back. And if you're not careful, what you owe is going to be more than what you have. And more than what you could hope to have. And, you know, with our planet, we can't exactly claim bankruptcy, you know? And a lot of people, they want to claim that, you know, oh, the global warming's not that bad. The science is flawed and, like, it's just a scare tactic. Human beings can't possibly be doing that kind of damage. You want an example of, you know, what human beings can do? I mean, we really are a species capable of great things, great change, great accomplishments, but also great destruction. Chernobyl will not be livable for like 24,000 years. Because of a nuclear disaster. Man-made. And that was one simple explosion. Well, not really simple. It was a nuclear power plant, nuclear reactor, you know, going critical and whatnot. But point is, man-made. Rendered a large chunk of the planet uninhabitable. And it will be uninhabitable for so many years that at some point we may need to post a warning to a future civilization to stay away. For their own safety. We are one global catastrophe away from Chernobyl being considered a cursed land to a new fledgling population that, due to our own history, our own, records being wiped out regarding what happened there, them not knowing why they can't move in, grow crops, set up, villages in that area without succumbing to horrifying illness and disease. And it will be that way for 24,000 years yet. Like, that's a lot. And when you consider it's only been about 2,000 years since the time of Christ, we're talking at least 10 times as long. And we have to hope humanity is still around to prevent anyone from from settling into that area. We have to hope our continuous history has been ongoing long enough and adequate enough to maintain records so that people understand the danger of that place. It's a heavy burden we've put on ourselves, because anything else so far that we have done, sinking of ships or, things like that, within a few years, we're able to, safely forget exactly where that happened. The cleanup isn't so difficult and so monumental that we've put generations upon generations at risk. I mean, when you think of archaeologists digging up ancient ruins in Egypt or something, that stuff wasn't so long ago as it will be from now before we are able to stop worrying about what happens around Chernobyl. That's the kind of guardianship we have to have over that place. And you might be thinking, well, you know, you think they would figure it out, that it's dangerous. You think that a future civilization would be more advanced than we are. There's no guarantees. We don't know what the heck is going to happen. We don't know what future events will play out. We can hope. Okay, here's this guy. And he's defeated. All right. There we go. So I knew this would eventually be something. Wave beam. I can't get through there, huh? Weird. Because it looks like I can. On the map I'm looking at. Alright, well, let's take a look at the... Let's take a look at the guide. We've gotten a bit out of the way here. How many Metroid do we have left? 27. Oh, jeez. Yeah, we are... Okay. So. According to this, I am in the right spot. Well, this map is just super flawed. Oh wait, no. I'm looking at the wrong part of the map. I need to go... I'm not really sure which way I need to go. Pretty sure that's going to help, though. Yeah, we should have the Varia suit by now, but we don't. I've been trying to figure out from reading the map how we get over there. The guide isn't super clear because it assumes that you're just reading it like a book. Which we're not. We're not going exactly in order. Even though I probably should be. Missiles. Because we definitely need missiles. So yeah. I forgot what we were talking about. A lot of things. Mostly political stuff. But to change the subject... okay. Need to go this way. Need to go down. There was an earthquake, so this should be safer. This is not killing me. That is. Man, we're gonna need some more missiles soon, aren't we? I'm gonna have to start farming. Okay, so we want to go up this way. There we go. There's the Varia suit. And there you can see what I was talking about earlier with the whole, the suit upgrade, giving you a new appearance. Because, yeah, if they had just gone with it being a normal color change like they did in the first one, on a black and white system, you never would have been able to tell. But now, we look so much cooler. Alright, so. Where is this taking us? Ooh. Miss Tank. Alright, we want to get to a save point at this point in our little exploration. I would also like to find a place where I can load up on some missiles. There's still that health orb over this way, if we can get to it. Can't believe we've only found one energy tank so far, though. But I suppose there's only been the one energy tank the entire time. go. Whoop. Back up to our favorite refill station. It's too bad there isn't a missile refill up here, too. At least not according to the map. Although, according to the map, there is a missile tank. I just haven't seen how we get to it. But yeah, this is where Samus got that giant basketball shoulders look that she's notorious for. And it was facilitated because they needed a way to show an upgrade that otherwise was just a mere color change in previous systems. This is also the entry where we finally got being able to shoot upwards and downwards. Spider ball. There it is. Ah, you had to, huh? Alright. See, this is the tricky part. Ah. No! See, every time I get hit by the bomb, it knocks me off the wall. But being able to control where you roll... Like right now I'm holding left. If I stop holding it, I have to be careful because this rocky terrain... Yeah, that's the wrong button. If you're right next to a surface that's up and down in any way, pressing left, see, like right now I'm pressing left, it's not going to let me because I'm on that little bit of rock. I have to press up to roll further. Ah, I was too close. Too close. There is a missile tank up there, though. I want to try to get that before we move on, because I don't think there's much else in this area for us to do. Oh! Did it again. And then by the time I get back up there, it's filled up again. Too close. See, this is the challenging part. You don't want to be too far away. But you don't want to be too close. Because, see, you get knocked right off. And that one, I felt like I was far enough away. I felt like I had made it far enough away. I had certainly been closer. There we go. A lot of work for an energy tank. A lot of work. But we're trying to get all the upgrades if we can. Let's go save. This next part is going to get a little tricky, I think. Missile! Ah, you're not going to let me get that, are you? Oh, there we go. We got it. Carefully trying to make our way up here without getting annihilated. Okay. Now, we have been down here once, because we killed this guy. He had it coming, don't worry. All There we go. Okay. There we go. Knew it was there somewhere. High jump boots. Yeah, we jump a lot higher now. Even our spring ball is higher. There's our second energy tank. Now, unfortunately, we have to go back. Yeah. All right. There are 3 missile tanks to find here. Give me a minute to figure out where I am before shooting at me. Jeez. Very rude. You know, if you just turn around. Alright, let's see. So now we gotta try to get all the way back to our previous location. There'll be a couple of save points along the way, somewhere, probably. I hope. Oh, man. Sleepy. Okay, so we've been in this little chunk of the map for a while. And I feel like we have accomplished quite a bit. We're certainly a lot more powerful than when we started. Okay. Pretty sure we've done all that. Whoa. Trying to scroll my map and I made it jump. Okay, there's that whole section we haven't done yet. Okay. We have been at this for a while, though. We have made some good progress, though. Not gonna lie. We got quite a bit further than I expected to. We are certainly a lot more formidable than when we started. Okay. Where the heck am I? Oh, right down. That's where I gotta go. Alright, what we're going to try to do is make it back to the ship. Because we can refill our health and our missiles there. I think we can save there as well. I think. Pretty sure. If not, there's a save point nearby. Can't remember if the ship had a save point in this one or not. I know later games the ship allows you to save. Later games where you have access to Samus's ship. Because while the first outing of Metroid, we don't see Samus's ship. In this one, it is introduced. And it does become a recurring factor in the games. In some of them, you actually have pretty easy access to your ship the whole time. Others, your access to your ship is at times limited by whatever's going on in the game. Like, in Other M, we don't have a lot of access to Samus's ship in Other M. In Metroid Fusion, off and on you'll have access to the ship. I mean, you don't get to fly it or anything, but, you know, as long as you're not locked into a certain area. And a lot of that game, you get to go back and forth to all the different areas you've already explored. But when it doesn't have you locked into a certain area, you can usually make it back to your ship, and there's a save point there. And a save point there. Super Metroid, I can't quite recall. But I'm pretty sure that that's another one that at various stages you do have pretty decent access to your ship. I mean, it's got some story elements where you'll be restricted from going back to your ship, but you still, I think, usually have access to it, if I remember right. In all fairness, it has been quite a long time since I played. No save point. No save point. Alright. Well, like I said, there's that one that's fairly close. It's over this way. But, as you can see, the ship did allow us to refill our missiles, which we kind of needed, because I didn't even know how many missiles we were able to carry there for the longest time. And it looks like the answer is quite a lot. But there we go. Now we are in perfect shape for the next part of our adventure. Which we will kick off next week. What's that? Next week? What about Thursday? Well, you know how I've been drawing some comparisons between this and Super Metroid and the other Metroid games? In the interest of getting through these games in a timely manner and getting them all introduced, I'm going to be playing 2 different games each week. A different one Monday, a different one Thursday. So every Murph plays during the week is going to be a different game. Monday, until we beat it, will be Metroid 2. Thursday, until we beat it, will be Super Metroid. When we've beaten one of those, I will plug in the next game in the in our franchise playthrough. So we'll probably be getting to Metroid Fusion quite a bit quicker than expected. But see, we still have Metroid Fusion, Super Metroid, Metroid Prime 2 Echoes, Metroid Prime 3 Corruption, and Metroid Dread to play through. And I want to get through the franchise, but I also want to get back to playing some Zelda. I'm not worn out on the Metroid yet, but there's still a lot of Zelda we haven't played. We have Link's Awakening. We have Oracle of Seasons, Oracle of Ages. We have Majora's Mask. We still have to do 100% on that. Adventures of Link, the sequel to the first one. Wind Waker, We haven't done that one. We haven't done Wind Waker. Twilight Princess we haven't done yet. Skyward Sword we haven't done yet. It's a lot of games. And I'd like to get through all of them this year. That's a pretty hefty collection to get through. But I'm also not looking to burn myself out on playing Zelda and Metroid games. I would also like to incorporate other games. So at some point we're going to be freeing up Fridays for random gameplay, which means the Zelda games are going to be on Mondays and Thursdays. But I want to get back to those after we've gotten some progress here on Metroid. But I may decide to take a break from Metroid for a little bit to play through another Zelda title, just because we have so many of those to get through, and it's a good change of pace. At some point, I'd also like to play through the Super Mario Brothers series. Uh, it's a lot of games. I might bend the rules on that one though, and I may allow us to cheat some of those because depending upon how I can get, depending upon what I can get to work, how I can get it to work, we may potentially end up with a Nintendo, maybe. We may end up with a Game Genie, maybe. It's a lot of maybes here. Alright? This is stuff I'm looking at. I haven't committed to. If I do, it's great content for the channel, sure. But, again, I'm still not playing to a big audience. I'm playing to a small audience, which, I'm okay with playing to a small audience, but playing to a smaller audience, I'm not going to commit as much of my resources to this. I'm going to commit some resources to this, but I'm also going to commit I have other projects going on, I need to commit my resources to, where I'm going to feel like I'm getting the most out of it. I just recently bought a brand new camera and studio setup so I can get back into photography. So I'm going to be spending a lot of my free time that I'm not spending doing this Twitch thing, exploring the world of photography again. It's been about 15, 20 years, somewhere in that ballpark, since I really had a serious camera and the sort of access to being able to play around with that hobby. And back when I did, I had a lot of fun with it. I greatly enjoyed it. I taught myself quite a lot about photography. I stole my mom's old college textbooks that she still had on photography. Learned about, exposure, and aperture, shutter speed, film speed, all of that stuff. How to properly compose a picture, using all the various equipment, using light meters, using the various kinds of lighting that are available, using the various kinds of filters, the various kinds of lenses, understanding the difference between the different sorts of cameras and what part of the camera is actually the camera. Because that's the thing. That is a thing, ladies and gentlemen. The same way your home PC is still a computer when you get rid of the monitor and the keyboard and the mouse and you replace them with a different monitor, a different keyboard, a different mouse, your computer is still your computer. Still the same computer, just with, new monitor, keyboard, and mouse. Well, with a camera, it's basically the big blocky chunk at the back of your camera is the camera. Everything else is the lens, or, lens, flash, and various attachments, and are interchangeable in, good professional models. Uh, and that's what I went hunting for this last time I went and bought a camera, because it has been a while. The kind that don't allow you to change out the lens and have the built-in flash and all that stuff, and you can't add an accessory flash or anything like that. I refer to those as the point and click, point and shoot variety of cameras. And most people are familiar with those. Most people have owned one or several of those. Most of your camera phones, that's the sort of camera you have, is a point and shoot kind of camera. You might have some settings in your phone that allow you to do a bit more with your camera than other models, but it's still a point and shoot camera. Now, not saying you can't do some pretty amazing photography with that. You can. But at the same time, having a professionally, a professional camera, like you know, you go to Canon's website and look at their selection. Go to Nikon's website. Go to who else is in that business currently? Olympus. Uh, Luminex. I don't know. There's another one, but go to their websites and look at the cameras that are available, and you start to get an idea that the phone in your phone camera, your camera phone, is a whole different ballpark than what's out there. There's a whole world of photography that isn't even hinted at. If you don't venture beyond your camera phone. My camera phone, for my current phone, the camera on my current phone, it's an okay camera, megapixel wise, like it gets decent resolution, but it is missing a lot of the fundamental bells and whistles that I like to have when I'm doing any kind of photography at all. Even the basic, I just want to get a picture of my kid blowing out the candles on his cake type of crap, or because I like to go the little bit of extra mile of being able to adjust the exposure so that I'm able to compose a little bit and get the proper depth of field I'm looking for, that kind of stuff. The phone that I had previous to the one that I'm currently working with, um, it had some pro settings. You could enable those, and suddenly it gave you access to things like the aperture and film speed. Um, Basically, you would get 2 points of the exposure triangle to work with, and the phone uh, would calculate uh, the third leg of that triangle. Um, which is all right. I mean, it's still better than you know everything being automatic. Still gives you a bit of creative license to play around. And I was just getting familiar with that, despite having that camera for nearly a decade, because it's an old phone. That one was an old phone. But when I moved, like I had just decided, you know what, heck with it. I'm gonna get used to the idea of, my phone is my camera. Um, I had been holding out, hoping that at some point I could just afford a decent camera, like what I was used to when I really took photography seriously. But it never happened, never happened, never happened. So I finally resigned myself to just accepting that my phone is my camera. And when I got to exploring, realizing it had those professional pro settings hidden away on it, and was just getting familiar with those. And then I moved. And when I moved, uh, my family, my mom, and you know, insisted that I get a new phone because my old phone just wasn't going to cut it. Certainly not for very much longer. Um, and my mom wanted me to get a new phone. Like, seriously, just get an actual new phone because my old phone, I didn't even have a calling plan on it. I was using a Skype number. It wasn't always the most reliable thing. And if I didn't have a Wi-Fi connection, um, you weren't getting a hold of me. Just you simply weren't. Well, after moving, um, my mom wanted to be able to get a hold of me reliably, in case it was necessary that I drove my cousin somewhere or something like that. Um, Basically, she wanted to be able to get in touch with me a lot more reliably than, okay, I'm at home now. What do you want? That kind of thing. And so she had me get this new phone. The new phone has nothing as far as you know settings for the camera. It's literally a point and shoot with like some filters for doing things like sepia tone, or you know you can do some various color filters, or After Effects kind of stuff. And while the resolution on the phone is great, it doesn't give me the kind of artistic license, the freedom to play around in that space that I'm used to and that I like. So I decided, okay, I'm getting a new camera, but it's not going to be a camera phone. It's going to be a real camera, and I have it. Uh, Brand new, just got it this week. Very excited. Um, it's very tempting, actually, to do like a photography tutorial on Twitch, but I'm not yet doing on camera stuff. I don't have my webcam set up. Um, I probably also would want a better webcam. I am looking at video cameras and stuff so that I can do good quality. And when I bought the camera, I got a really good studio light set. Got a great deal on that. Got it for practically half off, which, I mean, that's a fantastic deal for studio lights. So I'm excited for that. Got a backdrop stand. Got a green screen. Looking forward to playing around with that. This is going to open up some new avenues of play for not just my photography hobby, but also my magic hobby. Because one of the things I want to be able to do is produce a show. Put together an act, perform it, either in front of a camera or in front of an audience. Most likely, it's going to be in front of a camera, either record it and then broadcast a recording or performing live on my Twitch channel. I don't know. We're going to see how that goes. But one of the things I need to do there is get used to working in a studio space where I have the lighting and I have, an actual area for all of that. I mean, right now I've just been practicing, cardistry and stuff wherever I can, when I can. Carpal tunnel has been kind of a real slog for getting any of that kind of practice in, but the arms are feeling much better. Haven't been sore for a while, so I think I might be okay to start practicing that again. Gonna take it slow though, so it'll be a while before I start advertising any sort of magic act on my channel. For now, it's just gonna be games and coding, and podcasts where I talk about weird crap. But yeah. And so depending upon where the audience ends up being, depending upon where it feels like my resources are going to be best allocated to, I may end up with a Nintendo sooner rather than later. Or I may end up with a magic show sooner rather than later. Or I might end up doing a photography tutorial sooner rather than later. There's projects in the works. There's things on my mind that I'm considering doing. So the future of this channel, there's going to be some interesting stuff. It's just a matter of when. For now, though, we're playing Metroid. We're playing Zelda. We're going to start playing some other games here on Fridays once we're done with Breath of the Wild. Knitting Link, one of the regulars in chat, is going to be probably sad to see Breath of the Wild go for a while, but I mean, let's be honest. It's only going to be gone for about as long as it takes for Breath of the Wild 2 to come out. Because we all know when that drops, I'm gonna own it. I'm gonna play it. Y'all are gonna get to watch. And what I'm hoping is you regulars, Ube and Knitting Link. I know you're not currently there because you had to go, but if you catch this on the VOD, and I'll try to bring this up another time, hoping it's a thing we can play together. I mean, I know Zelda isn't notorious for its online multiplayer whatever, but what I mean by playing together, y'all get to tell me the sort of stuff you have discovered in this new game. And you'll all get to see the stuff I'm discovering in this new game. And we'll all get to discover these things, while they're still relatively new. And we can share the experience and tell each other about the stuff. Kind of the way people figured out how to beat the original Zelda. Gotta remember, there wasn't an internet back then where you could look stuff up. You would find out, oh, that's where the magic sword is located, either because you figured out what the really poorly translated riddle was telling you, or a friend of yours wandered around and found it and was like, oh yeah, it's in this cave over here. I can show you that. I can direct you to that. It was a lot of fun. A lot of fun. I mean, nowadays we have the internet, so we kind of share with the entire world, which is fine. But uh, it's always much more interesting when it's more of a personal connection, one-on-one sort of, you know, conversation happening rather than just, looking it up in a guide or something. Uh, Because, yeah, looking this stuff up in guides and whatnot, like I've been doing for the Metroid games, yeah, it gets us through. But I can't talk to the person who wrote the guide. I mean, I could probably email them or something, but they're going to be like, dude, I wrote that like 7 years ago. I don't care. I don't care about that game anymore. Life has happened since then. I don't even remember what I wrote in that guide. I'm not going to have that conversation with someone who wrote a guide, you know, half a decade ago, and now some rando on the internet wants to talk about it. No, I'm not going to force people into that conversation. But when Breath of the Wild comes out, it'll be brand new. We'll all be discovering things. We'll all be learning things. We'll get to experience, DLCs and stuff as they release. Um, it'll be fun. It'll be a very fun space to be in. I would have done that with Metroid Dread, but I was not ready when Metroid Dread dropped. I mean, I was ready to play it, but I wasn't ready to broadcast and share on my channel the way that I do now. Because we have progressed far enough that, you know, this whole experience is, it's easier to pull off now. So it'll be easier to share more, bring more content, that kind of thing. And I'm looking forward to it. Uh, what else we got going on? Let's see. We got the podcast every Tuesday. Me and my good friend Zeph talking about the craziest stuff you can find on Wikipedia and in the human conscious awareness. What weird conspiracies people believe. What weird things people have seen. Um, Ghosts, cryptids, true crime, unsolved mysteries, that kind of thing. We're looking for the weird with the podcast. It is Murph Strange Presents a Bloody Strange podcast, and it's me and Zeph having an unfiltered, poorly informed conversation where we looked up some topics on Wikipedia and decide to talk about them. We get a few of the details. We do a little bit of a deep dive on a couple of things, but for the most part, we're amateurs. Uh, but it's an exploration of human belief and why we're such weird creatures when it comes to unexplained things. We're also open to having this conversation with anyone out there. My Discord link is in my profile. It's also at the end of every one of my videos. Um, just type that address in, and you can get added to the Discord. Hop in there in the general chat. Feel free to tell me about whatever weird experience you've had, and I may not believe you. That is my right as a human being, whether or not I'm going to believe your story. I gotta say, I can be kind of skeptical, but I am a former amateur paranormal investigator. I used to go on ghost hunts, Um, even had a K2 meter and, you know, night vision camera, all the fun gadgets. I've had my own weird experiences. At some point, I'll share them on my podcast, I'm sure. Zeph is basically just completely unfiltered. She has some weird opinions on things, some weird ideas, some weird theories, and she's a blast to talk to about this stuff. So, uh, she's going to join me every week in which she is able to. Um, we'd love to have some guests on, so, you know, if you're out there, if you're listening, and you have a weird story to tell, let me know about it. I would love to have you on. Wednesdays, code sessions. We're gonna take a break from Python. And we're gonna jump into the world of web development. And there's a reason for this. I'm getting bored of Python for a little bit. I need some separation. Um, we've been working on our graphic user interface. We've gotten to a point where it works, but there's some weirdness that I'm trying to get sorted out so that the program consistently displays the information that we're working with, um, and isn't triggering our mild OCD about the aesthetics, you know? And rather than drive myself nuts with that, I think I'm just going to take a break from Python for a bit. I'm still waiting to see if they develop. Sorry, my throat is going completely crazy here. I'm still waiting to see if they ever develop Kyvie for Python 3.10. Because I would love to be able to show graphic user interface for, say, the Android system and mobile phones and show you how to develop apps using Python. And we will get into that at some point. If they don't um, if they don't release a new version of Kyvie, we will just go ahead and put 3.9 Python 3.9 on the computer here. I'll show you how to get set up with virtual environments so that you're always running the right version of the Python interpreter. And I'll show you how to set up third-party Python packages and whatnot. When we get back to Python, when we get back into doing all of that. But that's after I show you how to do sockets, because I want to show you how to do networking. Add a bit more functionality to our program before we worry too much about developing it on mobile phones and stuff. We're also going to work with Pygame, the retro style gaming library. But again, that'll be after we learn how to set up virtual environments. So, there is a future for Python on this channel. But we will be taking a break. We'll be learning a little bit of CSS, a little bit of HTML, a little bit of CSS, and a whole lot of JavaScript. And then, depending upon if I can get myself a server set up, and I should, I have quite a few computers to work with. I think I have one that's ready to go that I just have to install PHP on. Um, maybe. If not, I can set one up. It's fine. We'll get there. But I'll show you how to do uh, server-side development in addition to the client side. Um, I don't know if we're going to go through all of that before we get back to Python. We might just do a little bit of get up to a basic understanding of JavaScript before we hop back over to Python. But we will come back to web development in the future. Okay, I think I've dealt with that now. Sorry, there's been a tickle at the back of my throat for the last little bit while I've been trying to brief y'all on what's coming. Uh, though I do think that pretty much tackles everything. So, join us here next week, Monday, for more Metroid 2. Join us tomorrow for another weird podcast. We're recording later in the evenings now, though. So, be sure to keep an eye on the schedule. Be here Wednesday for the brief introduction to HTML and CSS, and hopefully a little bit of JavaScript. And join us Thursday for some Super Metroid. We'll be playing that on the Nintendo Switch Online service, because I don't have a Super Nintendo. Friday we are playing Breath of the Wild again this week. We have to finish the compendium. So we'll get that tackled. I don't know how much. Hopefully we finish it. And then Saturday, as long as I remember to, and I should, because I kind of feel bad about having missed it this last Saturday. We're having another public domain horror movie, so join us. And we'll see you then. And until then, have a great one.